We are going to figure out when this is live because I have no clue. This is going to be a change of pace. And you all have to tell me what's going on. Comments. Let's go. That's right. Kick your bass. Hopefully you guys can hear me well. The microphone's a little bit off too, as you can see it over here. So I will try to figure out what's going on as we get going. I hope everyone's doing well, though. So we'll just take a second to just say thank you to everybody. And hopefully you guys will hit that subscribe and like and all that other good stuff. Putting things away from me so I don't touch them while we're talking. We'll talk about a bunch of stuff. Man, it's been a weird week. It's been a really weird week, honestly. So we'll get into it a little bit more. Looking good on my end. That is awesome to see. Hi, Tim. Hope you're doing well. Probably won't do. I'm going to try to do this somewhat frequently. I'm going to try to pick a day that works out the best for everybody, and then try to do some interviews at the same time. I had someone that I thought would be great to come on this week, and then it just didn't work out timing wise. But we'll keep. We're starting this up again. It's been a long time since I've done anything live, but I'm looking forward to answering questions, talking a little bit of fishing, maybe talk about what's everyone's biggest bass. I can put a link on here if someone does want to come on here and be live and come on live with me. I will open that up to people too. Hey, Shannon, and just say, let you guys tell a story too, or just straight up talk to me. I guess I'll have to figure out how to do that. Hey, Dan. I imagine there's something on here that says how to. Oh, here I go. Invite. So what I'll do is I'll put this on here. Copy. I will post a comment on the thing. If you'd like to come live and say hello, there is the thing. I think I can only invite one person on at a time. But if you want to come on here and say hello, promote something, let's just have fun with it. There's my boy Mark. Nice to see you. Cheers. And just say hello and see what's going on. And we'll talk about what went on this week. Because, we just got done with Thanksgiving. If you hear a beeping, that's Thomas going in and out, riding the electric bike, which is the best gift or the best thing I've ever had in my life. Honestly, that bike is just the best, most fun thing I've ever owned. I'm not joking. And I've turned it into like a really nice fishing vehicle for myself. Oopsie. I put a little tackle thing on it and a tackle box on it. Not really tackle, it's a bag. I put a rod. I had a 2-rod holder on it. The problem is that it never held like my bait caster. And then when 2 rods were on it, trying to get my big ass over the rod, through the rod, it just became a nightmare. So I got one that I can tilt to a side and then do my own thing, and it makes life much easier. So it's been really cool. But the week started off a little odd, to be truthful. I mean, I'll tell the story. I had someone that there's not many anglers that I don't really get along with. There are some that we just don't see eye to eye on a lot of things. And I did that video a long time ago about James Watson, and it wasn't okay. So the truth be told, I was calling him Citywide. I thought it was funny in my own mind. It wasn't funny to him. He had branded himself worldwide, and he felt like it was a knock against him. And on maybe it was Sunday night or Monday, I don't know. Maybe it was Sunday night. He posted a comment, and the comment confused me, and it kept me up. I don't care if he knows now. It kept me up all night because I was like, honestly, I was like, this is the weirdest thing. And then if we take just a couple steps back, hey guys, if we take a couple steps back, like a couple weeks ago, I wanted to email a guy named James at Bass. And so I started doing this, my phone, and I found James, and I just found James and then went, and I started texting. And then in the middle, just as I'd finished finished, I looked up to make sure I had the right name. I realized the James I had in my phone was James Watson. And I'm like, how did I get James Watson's phone number? And if we're just going to keep the whole story as honest as possible, when I did that video about him leaving, when he got kicked out of Major League Fishing, he was not happy with me. That's the God's honest truth. He was not happy at me. So we had some really, really heated, one-sided heated comments on Instagram chat because I didn't think I had his phone number. And it was not nice. And I had said, no, I'll never talk to this dude. It's fine. Then, of course, I see this comment, and then we start talking. Then I see this comment. I text him. I say, look, if you want to talk, I'd rather talk and just clear the air. And then we talked on Monday we talked for like 3 or 4 hours. And I was dumbfounded. That's the God's honest truth. And he had a lot of things to say that I didn't know. And, he's trying to just get his information out as much as possible, which is rightfully so. But to go back and to think where we were in April or May or June or whenever that video came out to where we are now is really it's nice, because you don't want to go through this industry and just have people dislike you, because there are people that are going to dislike you. That's just how this works. You know what I mean? And to have it go like it was and talk to him was really nice. It started off the week completely, if I'm going to be 100% honest, completely shocked me. And then to get to where we were and talked a couple times this week, it's nice that we've cleared the air, and at some point in time, hopefully we can do something together. But he came across really nice and honest and genuine, and I was really happy to talk to him, to be honest. Because like I said, you don't want to go through this industry. This industry is really, well, I think a lot of people think this industry is really big. It really isn't. There are a lot of us that know each other from start to finish and know everything about each other. And when you have someone that dislikes you, then they start to, put their own information on and they spread rumors and things like that you don't want. And, he didn't know any of my background, which is one of the things I need to start doing better. I've had a whole bunch of people say to me that I get on here and nobody knows what my name is. And it's probably true. And there's a lot of other people, hey, Hank, there's a lot of other people that just don't know my background. So, sorry, Booster. I just started. I should say, if I put this on, if you guys want to come on here and say hello, I'll be honest, you could probably be on there right now for all I know. If you want to go to that StreamYard thing, that is where you can be somewhat a guest for a few minutes and we can talk. I don't know how that'll work because I don't have headphones on, but if we get an echo, we get an echo. I can put headphones on if I need to. But I thought it would be a little bit different. So, but like I was saying, there's not a lot of people that know where I've come from or what I've done in this industry. It wasn't. I have a video that's going to come out here next week that just says it's just about my physical story about growing up in Michigan and going to Virginia and when I fished and when I didn't fish, and then how I got back into fishing and how I know the people I know, because I did a radio show for 12, 13, 14 years. I actually did a radio show from 2009 all the way through to, I think, 2019. So maybe it wasn't even that many. No, because COVID was just a few years ago. So it was probably 22. So maybe 12 or 13 years. And in that time, you meet a lot of people, and some people you get along with and some people you don't. That's just how it is. I'm not here to please everybody. I mean, I take enough grief for a lot of things that I do. And I hear from people that don't like certain things. And there's a lot of times if you guys say to me, hey, Steve, I don't like this. Like someone recently said, Steve, I don't like you pointing at the end. How about those lines? Yeah. Let me just put that up. Hell yeah. That was a lucky one last night. Hold on. Dan, I don't know. I'm going to put you on here. Add to stage. Dan Fay.
Okay, can you hear me?
I can hear you. How are you, dude? I don't
How
see
about
you.
that? Hang on, I'll see if I can turn on the camera here.
Now, if you guys don't know Dan, Dan is famous fisherman on TikTok, has millions upon how many millions of people have watched your stuff on TikTok, honestly?
Well, I got almost 400,000 followers, but then I don't know. I've got 8 million likes on TikTok. I don't know how many million watch, but
Booster, you're next.
okay. Let me see if I can do the cam. Let's see here. Oh, we're starting to do it.
But Dan and I have been friends for oh my gosh, dude, how long have we been friends for? We met because of the radio show, didn't we?
We met because of Fish and Florida Radio. Yeah, I used to listen to you guys all the time on the radio, and then we were doing the what
Something
do you
with
call it?
Boudreaux.
Yeah, Gumbo Wars and all that. And
Yep.
so I came down to meet you guys there when you were there.
And you've been lucky enough to meet a lot of people. I remember a couple of years ago, you went and had Edwin on that lake of yours over there.
Yes, yes. And then I don't know if you saw, but then Edwin had me over to his place there in Oklahoma last
Oh,
year.
nice.
Yeah. What a class act he is. I saw that you've been that they sent you some pecans.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yep.
Dude. And yeah, the pecan they had a jalapeno pecan brittle. Holy crap.
I didn't try that one.
Oh my gosh. It was the hottest thing I've eaten in ages.
Wow.
It killed me. So how have you been doing? Tell me what's been going on.
Let's see. I'm still doing, I mean, a lot of fishing, but I'm just doing before and after work. So I'll get in an hour before work in the kayak. I picked up I don't know if you call it a sponsorship, but a
Oh
partnership
yeah.
with Old Town Kayaks.
They're
They
down here in Florida, aren't they?
they're based out of Maine.
Oh.
But I ran into them at the Bassmaster Expo. I wasn't even looking for a deal. I just was checking out that new e-pedal kayak they have,
Yep.
and I just thought it was incredible. And the girl started asking me about my social media, and I explained to her, and she said, "Well, I think maybe we can partner with you and do something." So next thing I know, a couple months later, they sent me this $6,000 kayak. So
Nice.
um, but I'm really enjoying having it. And I might do my first kayak tournament this coming next weekend, is on the Claremont chain.
Let's hope for some
And
good weather then.
yeah, yes. I don't know. I haven't done I
It's been
haven't done it.
cold.
Yeah, I haven't done 8 hours in the kayak yet. I've done 6,
Ugh.
but I don't know what it's going to be like to do 8 hours in the kayak. That'll be interesting for sure.
Yeah. Okay. So one of the things I wanted to talk about was largest bass real fast. Largest bass you've caught down here.
10-6, and I saw your 14. What did you say? 14.27 or something?
What? Yeah. But I think that was, do you remember when I worked at the Villages?
No, no. You worked at the Villages?
Yeah. I worked at the Villages for 2 years at the newspaper. One of the most fun places I've ever worked. Storylines, the stories you hear are just ridiculous. Luckily, I didn't have to deal with, you know me, I'm not very good with public and my hand situation.
Yeah.
So I didn't have to meet anybody, but you start hearing the rumors. But I caught it right there, right in front of the wait, hold on. Someone's saying the refs gave that game to the Lions. No, I'm joking. But yeah, I think I don't. Do you remember me saying I was going to make that series called The Quest for 10? Do you remember me talking to you about
Yes,
that?
I do remember something about that.
Yeah, and I was scouting out all these places around the Villages, and I kept seeing this fish, and I just thought, I'm not joking. Every time I walked down the bank, it would just tear away from me. So
Yeah.
then I walked all the way completely around the opposite way. First cast.
What was your guess on her before you caught her?
So I saw her probably 3 weeks earlier, and I thought she was 7 to 10. And that's I'm gonna be honest, I thought she was about 8.5.
Yeah.
And then I'm not even sure if it was the same fish, because in the time that I saw it and took 2 weeks, the fish was the size of the stump that I
Yeah.
was fishing. And then when I saw her, I was like, "Oh my gosh." And it just was like one of those lucky days. I mean, it was one of the few days that I didn't cast into the tree. I probably casted in the tree 700 times before that. And she just destroyed it. And I'm not joking, she destroyed it. And I thought, this is probably going to be when she jumped a few times, and then I started running. One of the problems, I think one of the issues people have when they catch a big fish is they start to walk towards the fish, and you're not reeling in and your line fast enough, and they get just that hair of slack in the line for that millisecond, and they're
Right.
able to spit the hook.
Yeah.
And I've had that happen a couple times, but not anything like this. This was a beautiful fish. And then of course I walked her up the bank and had to weigh her. And then by that time there were like 6 or 7 people like kind of screaming at me, thinking that I was killing the fish.
Oh, good
And
Lord.
then I was rushing, and then I didn't even think about taking out a phone. I didn't worry about any of it. And just one of those lucky days. Just lucky.
Yeah. Oh,
So
goodness.
okay, I'm going to let you go because there's other people. But hold
All
on.
right.
Before I ask, question, Dan, what's your favorite old school go-to bait when all else fails?
Oh, goodness.
Good question.
So is that somebody's asking me that?
Yes.
Okay. Old school. If we're talking old school, I'd have to say devil's horse. Um, that would be. I've caught a lot of big fish on that, and I mean, I use a lot of other lures now, but as far as old school goes, I would still have as much confidence in that as any of these new lures out.
What do you're like me. You like to throw a chatterbait, don't you?
I do a chatterbait a lot. I do lately. I've been doing a buzzbait a lot. I've got to get one in your hands, but my buddy Eddie has come up with this buzzbait, and we named it the zombie buzzbait. It has a clacker on it that is so loud, and we called it zombie because we say it wakes the dead. And literally, I'll be fishing in somebody's backyard or wherever. They will open their back sliding glass door to see what the noise is from this.
Really?
But yes, and dogs will bark at me from the back doors and stuff. And I've never had a lure like that that was so loud it would do that kind of attention. You really need to take a look at this thing.
Yeah,
And I can't even say that he wants to launch it. He can't even keep up with the orders right now because just what I'm doing on social media,
I love that.
I've sold hundreds for him because I just use it on my live streams, and people hear it and they're like, I've never heard a buzzbait like that. I gotta have one. And
What
I
is the
tell
name
them
of it again?
we
The
call it the
zombie?
zombie buzzbait. Yeah, he doesn't have a website. It's just Eddie Englehart is his name, and he lives in Dunellen, Florida. And he and I connected, and we've fished some tournaments together. And then he's like, "Well, you got to try this buzzbait," and I did. And I've caught. So I keep track of my memorable catches this year. Memorable being anything 20 inches in length or 4 pounds or bigger.
Hmm.
So I've got 69 as a total that I'm at so far this year that are over 20 inches. And I would say at least 10 of those, or probably a dozen maybe, have come on that zombie buzz bait. Um,
Nice.
that's just, one bait among others that I use to catch fish. But it's just incredible. So I'd love to see you check it out sometime. You
Yeah,
probably
I'd
have.
love to get one, and text me his number or something, and I'll
Yeah, I'll give you his
send him a
contact
text and
info.
buy one.
Yep, I'll give you his contact info.
Awesome,
And
man.
I'm sure he would send you a friend. I know you like to buy them, so you give an honest opinion or whatever. But
Yeah,
but what he would send you one. But yeah, if you buy it, it'll probably come quicker because he'll have his put his wife on it, and she'll get it all shipped out and everything for you. But man, I'm telling you, there's nights where he and his wife together are just building buzz baits.
that's awesome. I like to hear that kind of stuff. I like to
Yeah.
support the little person too. You know that.
Yep,
So
absolutely. All right.
awesome, man. Well, everyone go check out Dan. He's on TikTok. He does have a YouTube channel too. Famous Fisherman, correct?
Yes, Faymous. Famous.
Yes.
Yep. I put
And
the I put the I put the Fay in famous.
yes, you did. And he does all sorts of things for giving stuff to kids and all sorts of stuff. He's really a great dude. So go check him out. But I really appreciate it. And I'll talk to you soon, man.
All right. Good talking to you.
Later,
All right.
brother. Probably might have cut him off. I'm going to go from there to Booster. How are you, dude?
You can hear me?
I can hear you. How are you, man?
Hanging in there. I know I look ugly in this picture.
Yeah, you
Who
there.
told you,
I
Booster?
saw you for a second there, brother.
So
Booster is my contact whenever there is a launch going up. I know for a fact I'm going to get a text to tell me exactly which way it's heading, what time it's heading, all of it. And I think I tell you this. I really do appreciate it because Thomas and I and Sonia also walk out. You know the house.
Yeah.
Right there. And then we watch it. And this guy also, he knows more fishing than he's forgotten more about fishing than I know. So that's even better.
well, that's not quite true. Although I've had a good year this year.
Have you?
I have a friend, a doctor friend, has a farm, and I've got 5 fish over 7 this summer. So
Dude, you're killing it then.
it's been great. His pond is doing well.
Yeah,
Biggest one this year was 8.3.
Dude, that's awesome.
In all different ways, crankbait, jig, a stick worm, spinnerbait. What was the other one? Topwater was the other one. So
I love
it's been
that.
fun. Yeah.
So what else is happening with you?
Not much. It's too cold this week, and it's supposed to
I know.
rain starting up Monday, I guess, here. So my buddy that has the farm pond, he wants to go crappie fishing. So I got to get my boat in shape to take him. But I've been pretty lazy getting it ready.
But you're doing all right.
Yeah, hanging in there, doing pretty good. Yeah.
That's good to hear. I like to hear that.
I've been wanting to
I
come
like
down
keeping in
there.
touch with
I've
you.
sort of given up on looking at the house down there.
Oh, awesome. That's good news.
Well, I've given up looking down there. I was looking
you've
for a
given
long
up.
time. But yeah, it's just gotten too expensive with all the hurricanes and insurances and stuff that jacks it up.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
But I want to come down. I want to come down and see a live launch again, and I'll stop by and see you.
Yeah. We can go over to the frog pond.
Yeah,
The frog pond looks drastically different than last time you saw it.
really. Is it flooded or just cleaned out?
We cleaned it all out. We made it about twice the size, dug a little bit deeper on that right side over here, where we were fishing down right here on this side. And then we excavated it, and it's really high right now. With all the rain we got during the fall, we haven't had any rain in 5 or 6 weeks. So I haven't been out there that much. I was out there last week, but not this week yet.
Well, I am coming down to Jacksonville for Christmas to my sisters. I may have to take a jaunt down and stop in. I'll just have to look at the calendar to see what the days are. Are you going to be
stop in for sure? Yeah, we're going to be until I'll text you.
Okay.
I'll be there. We'll be here till right before the first of the year.
Okay.
So come on down and say hello.
Will do.
Okay, I'm going to let you go unless you have a question. I think you know a lot about me, so I'm not sure you'll have any weird questions.
No, yeah. I can put you in jail.
Yeah, I appreciate you very much, and I hope to see you soon.
Yeah, good to see you.
Okay, dude. Later, bro. Bye. Okay, so John asked, what exactly is too cold? It's 26 and feels like 17 here. John, down here, when it gets to probably 40-ish degrees, 42 degrees, maybe, it gets a little bit, we start feeling a little awkward. Okay, Ralph Young had a question. Let me answer this. Do I have any info on some guys dropping out of the Elite Series? I know of one guy that is dropping out of the Elite Series and is going to fish full-time over at NPFL, and that is Joseph Webster. I don't know if that's public knowledge. I don't, if we're just, because this is just all of us talking, I got a hold of, I wanted to know when the exact, when we would see a roster for the elites. And that was the guy, James, I was texting about, that James Watson almost got the email, the text. And I actually was trying to get a hold of Chad Gay, and Chad Gay was just like, I guess I don't know. He wouldn't reply. So I was going to go over his head and ask. And then I found out that it was that they don't know, they haven't gotten everybody in yet, or they don't know who's being left off or who's going to be in. So, I mean, right now, I think after this team tournament, that's when they'll probably be able to put out the roster, I think. Having said that, this is the latest I've ever seen it. So they're trying to get whatever they can. I'm under the impression that some of the guys that thought they were going to be out are not going to be out. Like, I was pretty sure my boy Bernie Schultz figured it was his last year in 2024. And now he realizes that he is coming back for 2025. So I really don't know who's in and who's out, to be completely honest. It's a weird situation. So I sent that Johnson video where he says, yeah, I'll have to look at it. This has really been a weird off season for a lot of reasons. NPFL only had 82 anglers last week signed up. There were some anglers like Welcher and Zach Burge and Patrick Walters that weren't on the list yet. So I'm sure they're gonna return, but it's a little weird that they're still waiting at this point in time. So I'm not sure what's going on. It's been a really weird off season, to be honest. I didn't get back to you, man. My Thanksgiving was good. Glad yours was too. Ice fishing very soon here. Yeah. Oh God, ice fishing. Yeah, that I do. So I grew up in Michigan, if people don't know. And one of the things I miss more than anything is the changing of seasons down here. I really enjoyed the fall season. Having said that, I don't miss the weather that much. And I think that as I've gotten older, because I'm 52 now, that I really appreciate that 60, 70-ish temperature. I don't know if it really is good for fishing, but I do my best. Fingers crossed for hard water. I think, John, you're meaning headwaters. If you're going down to headwaters, you're going to be in great shape, because we're seeing, like Okeechobee, we're seeing fish already in the pre-spawn phase. So it's a little different. The spawn really has a lot to do with water temperature and stuff like that down here. But we're finding, like last year, I think people thought I was crazy when I said I thought fish were spawning up here in the middle of Central Florida in the end of December. And it was dead on. There were the fish down in Okeechobee and down south that were already hard waters ice fishing. I'm sorry, John. Some of those places down south saw fish spawning in the end of December or middle of December. And I know the places up at the Ritz-Carlton here in Orlando, where they have really great water quality, they're seeing a lot of early spawning too. Let me see. The semi-favorite headwaters. Yes. Headwaters and Stick Marsh Stick Marsh is one of my favorite places I've ever fished. I loved fishing down there. I really did. Now that's more of a flipping, punching, and when you get into the headwaters, but it's still so good. It's so much fun. So, like I said, weird start of the week with the James Watson situation, but we cleared the air and everything seems to be good. I wish him all the best and hope that he continues down his road and can get the word out on what he wants out. I think at some point in time, maybe we can do a live show and just he and I can just sit here and just shoot the, you know what, and have fun and talk. But that isn't in, I didn't ask him, and that isn't in the works anytime soon. I do need to know if you guys want me to do these weekly or bi-weekly or whatever it is, because this is as much as this is crazy, this might be a little bit easier for me than doing a video, because right now when it's the middle of the off season, to just be completely honest, it's really tough to come up with topics. And I've been told lately that I do a lot of drama topics, and I don't even know what that means. I don't even get that. I'm not trying to stir it up with my over-unders. I'm just trying to give you stats, and I try to come up with ideas and topics that are completely different than everybody else. So you're coming down to Florida in April. So, John, I've told you, if you come down here, you can come fish with me. I'll give you my phone number. All you gotta do is email me. I'll give you my phone number. You can come fish the frog pond. Frog pond will probably be on fire in April. That's the truth. If you're not going to do that, I would say go to the Ritz-Carlton and spend the $80 or $90 or $200 or $300 and go fish with Mark there and just get one-on-one fishing. And if you want somebody to join you, I'll meet you there and I'll go fish with you for the day or for the few hours, because that'll be great. Or Disney, you'll catch so many fish, it won't even be funny. Now, you won't catch studs, but you'll catch lots of fish. Booster's stick marsh is 9 pounds. That's a good fish on stick marsh. That is a good fish, 9.9. That is awesome. I am looking forward to heavy hitters on Smith Lake Mountain. I want to say they break down lake. Of all things, I was going to do a video. Hold on. I'm going to grab notes. If you guys don't know this weekend on CBS, the main channel, where the hell are my notes? Well, I'm just going to go off the top of my head. On the main CBS channel on Sunday, either at 2 to 3 or 5 to 7, the heavy hitters from here behind me at Kissimmee Chain is going to be on. Now, if you miss that, you have no idea what you're missing. That's the God's honest truth. That tournament was unbelievable. Now, those guys all have the same boats. It wasn't a forward-facing sonar dominating tournament. Jordan Lee crushed it. But the best part about it is, they do that $30, $50, $100,000 for biggest bass during the thing. And the GOAT, Kevin Van Dam, caught the largest fish of the tournament. So actually, Kevin Van Dam made the most money out of everybody. He made like $118,000. But it was great to watch him and Jordan Lee and everybody else throwing a frog and just working those mats. So if you missed it, it is a great time to go out there. Okay, Miller. Holy crap, Booster. That's a giant. Yes. Have I tested the Karashi? I have not. I'll just show you. I got packages last week. I got packages from this little company right here, Megabass. They sent me a box of stuff, and I got some stuff from Strike King and all sorts of stuff that are over here. If you don't know, this is my photo booth. And I wrote on there things I wanted to get rid of. And this is the box of things I'm going to get rid of for you guys. And there is some unbelievable stuff on that, in that box. Even though half of it just dropped out. I don't know where that other little went. So I'm going to figure that out this week. Let me do this. The Bass Pro Shops Aquarium. Yeah. There was a guy that caught a fish in the Bass Pro Shops Aquarium when that opened in Orlando. And boy, it pissed off everybody. CT, do not listen to Slick. There's not one big line of people declining bass. Oh, is that something that he said? I don't know. Could Bobby Bakewell be in the leads? He could be in the leads. Let me see. Slick equals, okay. CT's already on fire. Frog, Texas, yeah. Jordan was whining a lot on that one, a lot, but he really was awesome. Hey, Stephen Carpenter, nice. Yeah, I think it would be on the thing. I'm going to put up there again. If you want to come join the show for a little bit, because I'm only going to do this till about 9 o'clock. You can click on that link and it should bring you up. We've had a couple of people, my buddy Dan and then Booster, come on here too. So like I said, I think there's a video coming up that's all about about me, because there's a lot of people that are that just don't know me. They don't know my background. They don't know the people. I don't really go into who I've worked for over the 20 plus years of being in the industry, but there's a lot of acquaintances and friendships that I've forged that are really important to me. And so that's where I am. That's what it is. So I'm going to try to get a little bit more information out about me. The thing is if you really know me, it might seem that I'm really open about everything, because I'll be honest as much as possible with everything that I'm doing and telling you guys. But the problem is I really am. I'm a little more shy than probably people would understand. And you have to really get to know me before I really open up. So I do this a lot. This is uncomfortable for me at times, but I really love fishing. So that's what I do. Here we go. Have I ever caught a bass while running 70 miles per hour? No, I never have. I've been on a boat where I've been absolutely frightened by how fast we've went. First time ever happened was Jason Christie, 2012, 2013, 2014 Classic. I was his media marshal for day one, I think. I think I went him, Brandon Palaniuk, Ott Defoe, and somebody else in a row. And the time that we went out there with him and he got going, I've never been so scared in my life. I don't mind admitting it. I actually at one point in time had a hard time breathing. I just didn't want to tell him. I had a hard time breathing because I was so scared. My chest was just pounding out of just making my heart beat so fast that I was so scared. So, I think those guys get used to it, but if it's not something that you're used to dealing with, I mean, my dinghy went 32 miles per hour. And it really scared the shit out of me. That's the God's honest truth. Steven caught 11 pounder on Holiday Park. Look for you. That is awesome. Marty, you're welcome. Thank you for being here. I really do appreciate it. My boy, Dan. And Dan has known me for years. Even when I used to have to do remotes and things with people and stuff like that, I would get really, I don't want to say shy, because there'd be a lot of people that want to say hello and shake my hand or all sorts of stuff. But there would be times, oh, Steve, sign this as an autograph. And I'd be like, I can't sign it as an autograph. I'm not, it isn't worth it. CT saying he is as well. Have you talked to Mr. Bass? I really see him. So he moved from where he was to a new house this year. And when he moved, I think that was the key, that he was like, so if I can I'm going to take a couple steps back on this one. I still do talk to him. We talk probably once every 4 or 5, 6 weeks. I try to keep in touch with him. He keeps in touch with me, and still one of the best guys in the whole world. But when he moved, he and I were both going through the struggle of YouTube. I mean, I think you go through times when you're trying to make content that you take, while we try not to take comments too personal, you do take them personal, because this is kind of like your baby. You don't want people disliking what you're doing. And I'm not saying anyone disliked anything that Mr. Bass was doing at all, because I think everybody loved everything Mr. Bass does. I loved everything Mr. Bass does. But you get in these lulls where YouTube becomes a challenge, or you work so hard on making a video that you don't get the response that you think you should. I mean, I'll be honest. There'll probably be 200 or 300 or 400 people that watch that 14-minute video about me, and that's perfectly fine. But when you have those constant struggles of doing YouTube is tough. That's just being 100% honest. And it's even tough for me. I go through lulls probably every 3 to 4 months where I just go, I hate this. I hate that I work this hard to make this little bit of money on this stuff. But then my wife motivates me, or if I'm going to be real, there's other content creators that motivate me, and they, by what they say. And then I go, you want to know what I need? Then my competition level goes. I don't mind admitting it. I don't admit it to many people, but there are times where I go, it's time for me to put my foot down, and I'm going to have to show people that I can do this, and I'm going to adapt and change and try my best. Okay, next, John. There is one there. Hold on. I'll tell you when it's coming out. Hold on. Apple and so I just have to go to my YouTube page. I have another monitor over here. It's going to look weird because I didn't want the reflection off there. But I think it's either Monday or Tuesday of next week. You'll see a video. It's called, I think it's called Something About Me. I don't even know what it's called. The story of Get Your Fish On. The members, if you're a member, you've already seen it, because members get to see everything probably a couple weeks before you guys do. So it's the story behind Get Your Fish On. It's scheduled for the 9th. So it's scheduled at 9. So you'll see that one unless something bumps it out. You should ride with Ike. I think I've been on the boat with Ike. His boat's ridiculous. Debate bad. Actually, I think I was one of the first people to ever do a live unboxing. I actually did it on the radio, which was the dumbest thing ever. But, it was something that we had to do it. Fouts called out the cost, expense, and tournaments. Now everyone complains about LiveScope. No, Fouts, Jacob last year was very honest about what he was doing. Unfortunately for Jacob, when he did that video talking about his expenses and other things, he kind of got a little blackballed in the industry. Not from me, because I don't do that, but I think I think it might have hurt him a little bit. He had an absolutely fantastic year, so it doesn't matter in the overall grand scheme of things. But I think he got a little, I don't want to say he got in a little bit of trouble. Jacob and I have never talked ever. I don't think, not on Instagram, anything. What's up, Edward? I hope you're doing well. There is my friend Eddie. Oh, Eddie, if you're here. Edward? Yes. Excellent. Eddie, I'm going to text you. I want to buy one of your buzz baits and do a closer look video on it. And then I agree. So I'll put the link in here if you want to come and say hello. Hey, Eddie, I'm going to put a link right now. If you want to come and talk about your buzz baits, I would love to talk to you for 3 or 4 minutes before I close shop for the day. Just click on that link and it'll bring you up, and then I will do my best to do this. I will say, this is the only time I'm going to use StreamYard. I paid for Restream.io today, because that's what Mr. Bass and I used to use. And I found it a little bit easier, but I also know how it works. I do like this little ticker tape thing here. But I think Restream is probably going to be easier for me. And I think it gives me a lot more opportunities to put some of my stuff that I can do. Because I remember there was one time I could actually put a video in there and kind of show you what was going on. And I could put commercials and other stuff on. But this is just, we're trying to get this started. If you guys want me to do this every week, I would love to do it on Friday nights or whatever it is. Oh, there my girl is. Hey, Caro, how are you? We'll start doing this and just have the community come on and talk. I mean, if there's any questions that anybody has, I don't mind answering any questions at all. I mean, to an extent, there probably are some things that I can't talk about. If you want to know what's upcoming, what I worked on, that kind of stuff, or you want to know more about me, I welcome any question by all means. I want to be upfront with everybody and make sure everyone learns more about me. And the channel is about all of us as a group, I call you guys my family. That's the truth. As most guys know, hey, Steven, that one of the best commenters of all time is this guy. I'm not joking. I've learned so much from him. But there's so many things I love that I don't mind sharing, because I want this to be a community that we all can talk openly if we agree or disagree with what we're saying. I don't want it to be something where everyone's attacking each other, because if you're going to attack me or you're going to attack somebody else, I'm probably not going to respond. And I honestly, I try to respond to everything that comes on, and that's not a joke. Every comment I try to do. Now, I will admit, if your comment gets brought into the held category from YouTube, there is a good chance that I can't reply, because when I make it so I can see it, it goes to public. It doesn't come up in the comment section for whatever reason. It's a horrible thing that YouTube has, and quite honestly, I don't know why it does it. So everyone's saying hi to Carol, because Carol's more popular than me, to be honest. So I'm going to run through a bunch of things. Okay, on Interstate. Tell them how tall I am. I don't think people would realize how tall I am. I am 6'4.5". I'm fairly. I don't consider myself tall. That I think Booster knows this. My son even says it. Like when we go to Thomas's swim meets, and I seem to be like ahead over most of his of the other parents of their swim dads. I've never thought I was tall, because I played basketball, and I always had, I played with Vince, and I played with a lot of pros that were always taller than me. A majority of them were. I mean, I played with White Chocolate one summer, and Jason wasn't as tall as me. Jason wasn't. Vince Carter was shorter than me till he got into 11th grade. Then he sprouted, and but most people were taller than me. Some anglers that qualify with bass decide not to fish due up? I think they're all going to. As much as I want pay to play to be there, the payouts are just horrible when you get to that 20th and through 40th. And I did that video recently where it showed all three in the top 30, and that was really surprising to me. And I should say there is a lot of anglers that have commented to me about how much they dislike the payouts. And that isn't just bass anglers, that is MLF anglers. And MLF anglers are like, lately they've been doing as CT would say, the something dance. I don't know what he says. When he's right, he was going to tell you he is right. But I've had a lot of MLF anglers say, I told you, Steve, I told you this was going to happen, and now it is happening. First time he met me, he said, damn, you're tall. That is true. Yeah, it won't happen. You could hunt geese with a ray. Keith, that's a good comment. Hank Snorters, no, he isn't no short. Yeah, I'm not short. I like I said, yes. I've never thought I was tall. I've never, and if we're gonna be real, I was 5'8" as a senior in high school, and then I grew 8 inches in 2.5 or 3 months, and then went from a shooting guard to a small forward that could just dribble real well, and that really helped. And then I had to learn. I almost had to learn how to play basketball again when I got out of high school, because I just out of nowhere grew, and I went from getting that much over the rim to that much over the rim, and having to learn how to dribble again and all sorts of stuff. It was a really weird summer. Okay. Sorry, I don't. Kara says you're a foot taller, and she said you suck. I'm sorry. I don't know. Do you know what with 3 of the 5 guys who qualified to fish the BL? I thought they. So I did talk to one of the 3. One of the 2 that weren't going to fish that declined the invitation, and he said that he was declining it because he thought he was a better angler as a 5-fish angler, and I kind of respect that. I also think that some of these guys that are qualifying are scared they're going to get the qualification taken away from them after 1 or 2 years. To go from 65 to 45 and then 5, extras, that group of anglers that are going to be on the BPT are going to be the best, some of the best of the best. And I'm not trying to take anything away from any elite anglers that are on the bottom of the barrel, but those 45 anglers is the best, some of the best anglers there are. They'll be, without a doubt, the best named anglers of all of them. And while there's a lot of them that did not like, a lot of guys that are leaving the BPT to go to the Opens don't realize that they're in, and I don't know who says this to me, the Opens purgatory, because a lot of these guys are not going to requalify for the elites in 1 or 2 years. Ish Monroe is a great angler. Ish Monroe has had 3 struggling years to try to get back, and he is not back yet. And the anglers that are now coming into the Opens this year, only, no offense to Ish, only bring him down a little bit, because some of these guys that are leaving BPT to go to the Opens that didn't qualify are absolute hammers. And I hate using that term. They're stud anglers. And to attempt to requalify isn't going to be easy for any of those guys. And they need to remember that, because they think that they are going into the Opens and it's going to be easy. I got a buddy, Brandon McMillan, that I fish with. He's been in the Opens for the few years. I believe Brandon is one of the best anglers I've ever fished with in my life. And he struggles, but he also struggles when we get outside of Florida. When he's in Florida or down south, he does great. When they go up north, it's different. And these new anglers that are coming in are so well based on technology that if you're not using your forward-facing sonar, you're not going to win. It sucks to say that, but that is the God's honest truth. If you're not fishing forward-facing sonar right now, you're not competing. You might do well in a BFL and some of those other tournaments, those lower-end tournaments, and they still have fantastic handlers. But the guys in the elites, the guys who are consistent, the Johnston, the Shakurats, the Walter, those guys know forward-facing sonar better than anything. And no offense to like Greg Hackney and those guys that want to fish the old school way, or even John Cox, they're not going to win. They might be close to winning, but I mean, look at what happened 2 weeks down here at Stickmarsh and Headwaters and Garcia. The guys that won were scoping in Florida in 8 foot of water with tons of trash in the water, and they won. And they didn't just beat the Lane brothers. They whooped them like redhead stepchilds. And so these young kids that are coming in who have learned how to do this technology before anything are showing out, and they're unbelievable. Okay, here we go. Yeah. Should have taken some of those. Imagine how tall I would have been. I would have been huge. Yeah, I've never talked to Matt. I'd like to. I'd like to talk to him. And Shakurat is a good dude. Shakurat's I think Patrick Walters, I don't mean any disrespect to Jacob Wheeler. No disrespect. I think Patrick Walters is the best angler on the planet. And that's hard for me to say, because I think Jacob Wheeler is just unbelievable. I just did a video on Jacob Wheeler that I'm not even sure I'm going to post. It talks about, can Jacob Wheeler be the next GOAT? I don't know if he can. I don't know if that video is going to go up either. John says it perfect. Forward facing sonar is the latest tool. You have to know it. The fish are getting used to forward facing, just like it. Yeah, I think I might have told this story. So when Berkeley Gulp came out, I used to be almost strictly a saltwater fisherman on the lagoon. And when Berkeley Gulp came out, you could cast one of those Berkeley Gulp shrimps to a tailing redfish or a redfish that is even going by it. And when it hit the water and they smelled it, the redfish would turn around and then attack it. I mean, physically, tuna attack it. They would go after it. And there were 2 or 3 years that I pretty much owned stock in Berkeley. There was a time where if you opened up the hatch of my boat in the dry storage, there might have been 200 packs of them because they'd get eaten by pufferfish and trout and everything else. It just stunk. But then after 3 or 4, and I got the Berkeley Gulps a year before they came out on the market. So I was able to see them and use them way before everybody else. And we would just destroy redfish with them, destroy them. And then out of nowhere, it got 3 or 4 years, 5 years afterwards. And you throw that gulp would still catch a lot of fish, but the redfish knew that wasn't a real, it wasn't a real bait. It wasn't something that they knew they were going to get a hook in their lip. And out of nowhere, you would see that gulp land and, just barely hit the waters, and it would float. And worst action ever on a shrimp, by the way. It had no action. There was nothing remotely good about it other than it smelled good. And it would sink, and you'd see redfish jumping out of the water to get out of the way because they knew at that point that there was a boat near them. Since you and World Iron Brothers, can he get them? I could ask. I wouldn't call us brothers, but maybe step brothers or ugly brothers. That's a joke, by the way. I don't want anyone going to him. I'm not calling James ugly. I'm calling me ugly. James has a lot of really, I don't want to take up for James, but he has a lot of pent up frustration for what happened to him. And I'm going to be honest, rightfully so, but he did dig that grave for himself. But he has a lot of things that have bothered him for years and years and years that never were addressed. I actually started working on a video. Maybe it was today. Hold on. I'm going to go through my list of videos. So I did one today about 5 biggest mistakes new bass anglers make. Where can they make more money? Can Jacob Wheeler become the all-time GOAT? Which rookie class is best? Where is that? So one of the videos today was about cover-ups. And just some of the things that you hear. I'm not sure. And when I say video, that means I'm writing notes for myself to try to do what I can to gather the information as much as possible, but sometimes it just doesn't work out. Just like the Jacob Wheeler one, I'm not sure if that video will come out because just some weird things. The Berkeley Max said, tracks my dog. I'm going to share this. I have a nephew named Jakers. His name's Jake, and he is, besides Thomas, who's my son, and my other nephew, Callan, those 2 nephews are probably they're probably the people I love the most in my life. I paid Jake $20 to chew on a Berkeley Gulp, and he threw up, and I got in a lot of trouble. Why do you believe the 500,000 tournaments disappear? Will pro bass fishing in any league ever return to that level? That's a fantastic question. I don't know if they'll ever return to $500,000. I could see maybe the Classic and maybe the Red Crest. Maybe the Red Crest, probably not as much as the Classic. I think that there's not enough non-endemic sponsors right now. And there's too many sponsors that are not getting their return on investment. Just look at General Tire, who was a humongous sponsor for Major League Fishing for so many years, now has pulled back everything. There's some anglers that are still getting a little bit of money, but they're not major sponsors of Major League Fishing. Look at the MPFL, who struggled to get sponsors for 4 years, and they pay $100,000 to win. It's hard to have someone come up and say, we want to sponsor you, and then not see the return. So, like for me, let me get a drink of water here. Almost out of water. For me, I can show that since April, that I've gotten almost 3 million views. For the first 5 or 6 years, or 4 or 5 years that I did this channel, I had 2.5. I'm probably at 5.2, 5.3. I don't know what I am really at this point in time. I guess I could go look it up, but I'm not going to. But you have to show that when a sponsor comes to you, like take, for instance, Highboy, who gave me that amazing bike that I love more than anything. I would have done that for free. That's the truth. I now believe that that bike is one of the best things that I've ever owned. And it's just like, just even going for a cruise, I think it's amazing. But you have to be able to show that whatever you get, and that monetary stuff always comes back to the organization. And it's hard to do that when the viewership isn't there. And Major League Fishing has a great viewership. But the team trails were probably the best stuff other than the heavy hitters. Besides the heavy hitters tournament, the team trails were probably the best viewed stuff for Major League Fishing. And for General Tire needs to not only see a return on all that money that they've spent, but we as fans have to go and buy those products. Even myself, I watch a few channels all the time, but even I am not good at going over and buying the stuff I see on those channels to support those channels. And that's really what it is. Like for me, I don't ask you guys to support anything. If you guys want to be a member, that's great. I will say the members get to see stuff before anybody. The members also get my phone number. And if they have an issue, they can text me, or they want something or whatever it is, they text me. I don't ask for people to give me money or any of that stuff. And content creators, unless you're Ben Milliken or one of those guys, we don't make a lot of money. I mean, we don't make, if you realized how much time I spend in this and the money I get from YouTube, you probably would go, Steve, you're a freaking idiot. And you wouldn't say freaking. You would go, it's ridiculous. Booster. Yeah, we need more Walmart sponsors. We're never going to get them. CT, chew on some. I don't. Maybe if you had, Elon Musk. Did you see that Elon Musk paid gave almost $500 million or $1 billion to the Trump thing? That's unbelievable. I need him as a sponsor. I was wondering if you ever talk about or have any information about some changes to electronics in the BPT. I've talked to Boyd about it. I don't mind sharing with you guys. I wouldn't say one of my closer relationships is, but I text Boyd and I can get Boyd on here. Maybe not tonight, but he would come on here just to talk to me. I wouldn't say we have a close relationship, but we have a very good relationship because we've been very honest about things. When Boyd was buying FLW, I think I knew about it before anybody, or not, obviously not before his close people, but I knew about it and I just wasn't allowed to talk about it. Boyd invited me to go watch the Summit Cups, and I was the only media person in all the years that they did the Summit Cups that was allowed to go for 7 days and watch all of it. Now, I couldn't go back and do the radio show and talk about it, but when it came out, then I could tell them all the things that I knew about how to fake everybody out, that they had 5 or 6 or 7 or 12 guys go on stage and hold up the Summit Cup championship. And then one person of those 12 actually was the winner. I knew who the winner was. I knew it was Bobby. And, so we've had a very good relationship, but you have to remember, Boyd is a politician is what I call him. Sometimes I ask a question and I have to go all the way around my neighborhood to get an answer. And maybe not even then. And it isn't that he disrespects me, but he's like, he's got so many things coming at you that he wants to tell you that sometimes the answer isn't as much. I thought what BPT did for forward-facing sonar was a good thing. And the only reason I say this is because I think that it adds so much more strategy to what those anglers are going to have to deal with. Because I think you're going to find out that some of these guys at the last minute are going to go, you know what? I'm only going to use it for the last period if I'm down. Or they're going to use it for the first period and then just struggle their way through the rest. And depending on when those fish start to go in the feeding frenzy, that forward-facing sonar during that period is going to be invaluable. And I think that's what we're going to find this year. It's going to be fun to see what they do. And Bass and MLF and BPT can't get rid of forward-facing sonar. Their sponsorship stuff is millions. Okay, all the tournament shows have to include. Yes, I do agree with that. I think that though Toyota's spent so much money in the past that they've kind of got an exclusive, but I'm not sure. Hold on, I have to text somebody right now and see if he will grab me. Hold on. You're going to see a little boy. He's not so little, by the way. CT says, I don't know what that answer was. I did meet Doug Cannon. Doug Cannon and I were very close friends. Doug Cannon was on the radio show 3 or 4 times. I will say that Doug was hard to, and I say this rest in peace, was hard to deal with at times because he was one of those people that I think had really serious ADD or ADHD. So he would kind of get on this thing. It was like one of the greatest people to ever talk to. Yes, come in the door. Hold on. Will you go fill me up with water, please? Say hi to everybody. They don't see you. He's right there. That's him. One of the greatest people that I ever sat down with and talked with for, well, we talked more than 1 or 2 times, was Aaron Martins. And I used to joke about it. I really hate that I joked about it, but you would talk to Aaron, and and may he rest in peace, greatest dude of all time. And if he was talking to you and he saw a bird fly by, he'd go, and then he would be so distracted on that bird that he would forget about what you were saying. And it's crazy. I'm going to show this to you. Thank you. You going to sleep? No, okay. I'll show you guys this. So this is my phone. When you go to my contacts, I still have, you can't even see it, can you? The first person is Aaron Martins. I'm never going to get rid of that phone number because I enjoy that every time I go to this, that I get to see his name and that I remember him for the time, the unbelievable amount of time that he would spend with me showing or telling me how to dissect a lake. And I've always thought I was a fairly decent angler. When you sat down with Aaron Martins, you realized you weren't that good. And I think that anybody who has ever met him, any pro angler would tell you this. He was so meticulous about everything he did, about his knots. Like I've had a few friends. Andy Mills is an Olympic skier, and Andy's won the gold cup down here for fly fishing, where you go after tarpon. He won it like 3 or 4 years in a row. And when Andy and I would get together, Andy would tell me how he thought that the reason why I wasn't catching the amount of fish is because that my knots were tied wrong. And Andy would spend so much time tying knots. And Aaron was the same way. You would sit down and talk with him, and he would explain what he was looking for. Or the best way to one of the better stories with Aaron. He came down here for the BPT, and then he started fishing right outside of the marina at Lake Toho on an area that, the God's honest truth, I thought, this is the craziest thing, that he thinks the fish are right there. And he started scoping, or 3D or 360 or whatever he was using, just yanking them out. And I thought, my mind was blown. We get off the water, and he gets off the water, and I run to him. I'm like, you got to tell me what you're doing. He's like, Steve, this area, there's so much structure that nobody else is dealing with. Nobody else is seeing it. And I know that fish relate to structure and shade and all this stuff. And this is why. And then he explained to me how a little flow of water was coming through here because of certain things. And honestly, I had been to that place 150 times. Never once thought about putting a bait where he had it. And Aaron Martins is one of those people, and so was Doug Hannon, to be honest. He just knew so much. He was so smart. Okay. Anglers seem to be... I'm not sure. I think publicly they're okay with it. I'm not sure they're okay with it privately. I think there's some anglers that have said they don't like what he did. There's a lot of anglers that have said they don't like what he did. But and I think even Guy has said he's all right. I don't know if I believe that. I'm not sure I believe it. But I think Bass needs to tighten up on some of those guys doing that crap, because I don't think that was fair to Guy at all. Let's see. Unless there's an obvious top order. Yeah, I think you're right. I think it'll be fun to see what happens. Boyd says they're going to make $1 million a year. How many anglers will? I think it's gonna be hard to make $1 million. I think that might have been a pretty big exaggeration. I will say that because they're going to be more condensed field and getting to that BPT level, and with the viewership that they have and all the other stuff, that there will be more people that make $1 million because of earnings and sponsorships than ever before on the BPT. And I only know this because I know of that make close to $1 million right now. And that's without 2025 starting. There's some guys that make amazing money on the elites and the BPT for sponsorships because they sell a lot of product. If you're constantly winning and you're able to promote that product, you sell a lot. You sell a lot. And so they get a lot of money from sponsors. Not everybody, but there's probably 10. So, we'll see. $1 million in earnings can't happen. You'd have to win every tournament. And there's only 7. Yeah, during the summer, yeah, that's going to be a thing. Thanks, Carol. I don't really. I have so many stories of being with anglers or going fishing with anglers, or that you guys probably will. I don't talk enough about. But Aaron's one of those guys that I thoroughly enjoy my time with. There's a handful of them that when I see I say it as it is. I call him Daddy, but Bill Dance is one of those too. As soon as Bill and I see each other, we are glued to each other because there's a friendship and a bond that's there. Shaw Grigsby's another one. I go fishing with his grandson. And so you get those relationships over years and years and years, so that when you see each other, you're very comfortable and you feel there's nothing there, nothing to keep us from not saying hello, giving each other a hug or whatever it is. And, those relationships over 14, 15 years are very solid. And I have it with Jimmy Houston. I have it with some of the icons in the industry, to be honest. I can text KVD and probably a few days later I'll get a text back, or Like the other day with the Brent Chapman news, I texted him right away. I called him right away and told him how much my family's going to put him in our prayers, and I'm wishing him the best. And he texted right back. There's a lot of relationships that are built. Now, some of these new guys I'm not as close with because I don't do a lot of these interviews anymore. And that's what this is going to be about, doing these live shows so that we're doing more of that. Caro. Larry. Hey again. Hey, Michael. Grabbing dinner, heading home, 2 hours left. Drive safely then. Scott, what's up, Michael? After watching the team Texas Jesus. Yeah, I think we'll see that a little bit at the beginning of next year. So Scott is leaving us. What's for dinner? I had pizza, homemade pizza. Booster, yeah, everyone give a thumbs up. Make sure you talked about it. I watched a video with G in it, and he was not happy. That would be the first. Somebody mentioned to me that he wasn't happy, but he was trying to be a better person about it and just say, oh, this happened and let's go on. Who is going to fill Zona's spot? Not shoes. I don't know. I don't think anyone can fill those shoes. I think it's physically impossible. I've talked to Mark since he left. Mark is a great guy. I mean, he's great on camera. He's even better as a person outside. And he was one of the few people when Boudreaux died that contacted me. And Boudreaux worked for Bass for several years. And not a lot of people knew that Boudreaux died. And Boudreaux was on the radio with me. He died a couple of years ago, and it still hurts. But when Boudreaux died, Mark was one of the few people that called me and said, "Hey, Steve, I'm really sorry. There were a lot of people that did it, but Mark did it, and I really appreciated it." Let me see something. Hold on. Steven. Hold on. You should put that up there. I don't think anyone can do it. Steve, I do live in Florida. I live in Apopka, so I fish here all the time. Aaron was a solid guy. Hank Parkin pranking me into meeting Stan Sloan was classic. I'll have to hear that story at some point in time. So yeah, there's a lot of people that I know in the industry. A lot of people that I consider good friends, and we're going to try to do some live stuff on here and have fun if you guys want me to. That's the whole thing. I want to make this about us. It's fun to get other people on here and talk about their fishing and all that other stuff. The problem is that there's a lot of people that do the same thing in podcasts, and I really don't want to do the same thing, but I do want to do the same thing because I really do enjoy talking to the anglers and hearing their stories. But at the same time, I don't want to chase after every guy who wins every time they do it. I mean, there's some guys on the MPFL that I'd love to hear from. There's a Luis Fernandez. I was going to go with him when they came down to land. I was going to spend a day with him on the boat, and I was going to spend a day with John Cox on the boat. And I was really, really looking forward to that. So I'd like to talk to him a little bit too. Oh my gosh. Most innovative tackle is coming from Jim. Yeah, I would agree with that. I haven't seen anything really new or exciting recently. And the industry and everything that's going on in the industry with everything going up is crazy. Davey Height would be great if he's there. Hold on. Will the Hummingbird 3? I think it'll be allowed in practice, but not during the tournament. I could be wrong though. Hey, watching in Lakeland, enjoy. So I appreciate that, man. I really do appreciate that. Did you mention Orange Lake had giants? It does. Orange Lake has some studs. Mom, hold on. Mom says yes, please. You're up in Jacksonville. My sister lives in Jacksonville. So Tim, we should probably exchange phone numbers. So when I go up to Jacksonville, I have someone to fish with. Now I live vicariously with you guys on YouTube. I would understand that. You want to know what's funny is I don't watch a lot. I don't want to sound arrogant by any means. I don't watch a lot of fishing stuff anymore unless it comes on live. I do read some forums, and there's a few people I keep up with on a pretty fairly consistent basis. But my day is really trying to figure out what topics I want to do and research them and try to keep up with as much content as possible. Oh, hey, good night, man. I really appreciate it. I would love to hear. Yeah, I think that's the right way to go, Booster, to be honest. I think having some of the people that we don't ever hear from and allowing them to have their time to speak and not have just the biggest guys. But at the same time, I do realize that when I start this, I know there's going to be a few anglers that are going to call me and say, well, why didn't you come talk to me? And I don't want to have that happen. I had 2 or 3 anglers call me this week that said, dude, you are killing it on YouTube. And I'm like, I didn't even know you watched the channel. And they've been it's enlightening and humbling that I hear a lot of pro anglers call me to tell me the only reason I hear about the news that's going on in the industry is because of you. And I really do appreciate that, because I'm really not trying to be drama. Anyone that says I'm drama has not watched the channel, because I'm not trying to stir up crap. I'm just really not. That isn't me. What happened? Yeah, I mean, you want to get so much pressure that some of these places don't. Toho and Harris Chain 3-4 years ago, Harris Chain was probably one of the top 20 lakes in the country, maybe 4 years ago. It is not anymore. And it's because of the pressure that we put on these lakes. There's too many tournaments. You can't have a tournament on a big lake and have 400 high schoolers show up out there. No offense to the high schoolers. It's too much pressure. Those fish they're getting beat up. And if they're getting beat up, then the spawn changes and everything else. And we used to have, 5 or 6 years ago, I used to hear from like beginning of December till the end of January, I would hear of 2 or 3 over 10-pound catches every week on the Harris Chain. Now I haven't heard any in 2 years. So we're hurting our lakes and ponds by the amount of pressure we're putting on them. And it needs to stop at some point. Yeah, Slick Chapman does not sound right. Someone has to text me, and this is no disrespect to Slick at all. Someone has to text me if they want me to, or text me to say, hey, you need to watch Slick stuff. First off, I'm not on TikTok. Dan knows this. But I just am not there to hear not that I don't think what he does is not good or satire or all that stuff, but I think it does do a little bit of harm to what we're doing. And that's what the problem is. His understanding is a drought hurt. Drought can hurt it too. The cartels. Yeah. Yeah. And Steven's right. I've said this. Steven is one of the best commenter of all time on my channel. If I could give an award out for best commenter, he would, without question, win it. I think, every year they go up and down, but I do think pressure has a lot to do with it too. I mean, there's like, you look at Gunnersville and those places like that. There was several years ago, Gunnersville, or like, I remember one year I said, I need to go fish. Oh my gosh, what is that place in Alabama? Can't believe I don't remember it. Oh, I know it might not be Alabama. Pickwick. I so badly wanted to fish Pickwick because all I heard was how unbelievable the fish were. I went up to Pickwick and then got skunked. And I mean skunked. And I was fishing with an MLF pro. Skunked. And I thought, what the hell is everybody talking about how great this place is? This is the worst fishing I've ever done in my life. Throwing a rattle trap and then throwing a spinnerbait and then throwing a chatterbait and then fishing a place where Aaron Martins won the tournament the year before on. I'm not joking. I was fishing with an MLF pro. We didn't catch one fish all day. And here, all I hear is how great Pickwick is. Well, it's freezing cold, so there was some issues, but it was horrible. And that has a big influence too. Fishing is fishing. That's why it's called fishing and not catching. Sometimes you have bad times. I did have a great time on the boat with him. And now he's a unbelievable friend, but sometimes it's hard. So this is a topic that happens every year for the elites. A couple of years ago, they had decided that they were going to go fish out west, but the anglers complained about it. And then they changed everything. They had to change the whole schedule. I don't know if it's 2 or 3 years ago. They had one place out west. A majority of the anglers live on the, and for those guys to drive all the way over there is probably 3 or 4 days travel, 7 days of fishing, 3 or 4 days back. So you're looking at half a month for them to go over to California. Now, I do agree that they should go over there, but there isn't any plans at any point in time to go over there at this point because there were too many people that complained about it. You'd be really surprised at how many of the anglers complain about everything. And this is not an exaggeration. They bitch about everything. It stinks. Marty says it was easy for you to learn live scope. I'm 57. It's hard for me. It is easy for if you're brought up using if you're brought up fishing and using the technology, it isn't hard. I'm 52, Marty, and I have issues, and I think I'm pretty good on a computer. I'm probably better on the computer than I am as an angler, only because I'm doing this all day, every day. And when I saw live scope on Crappie Masters, it was a challenge for me. So, it's something you have to learn. You do have to learn. And I wish you the best of luck, Marty. That's the worst. The travel hours. Yeah, the travel hours are the worst part about it. The travel hours and the guys complaining. There we have it. How much it costs for the anglers to go to fish in expenses is ridiculous. It really is. Some of these guys that are able to share the lodgings and get a bigger house or whatever they do, like Scott Martin and Adrian and those guys, or Wheeler and those guys that fish together, that's the right way to do it. But like Skeet and John Murray, who I was talking about with Pickwick, because that's who I went and fished with Pickwick. I just didn't mention his name. Skeet and John have been roommates for years. And they're not staying at cheap places because you want someplace where you're comfortable, that you feel safe, that you know your boat's going to be safe, and then also that it's a place where you can plug in your stuff and recharge your batteries and stuff like that. And a house makes sense nowadays, Airbnb and that stuff. But expenses for these guys are ridiculous. They're as much as tournament fees. That's why the elites going to no entry fees is going to help a lot of anglers. The payouts are horrible, and maybe they can do something about the payouts in the future, hopefully. But at this point in time, 40th place for $500 is terrible. You live on Pickwick. What the hell? Marty, we need to exchange numbers. We did go to the dam. We didn't do well. John and I meshed and when it came down to it, I just wanted to spend 8 hours on the boat with John. And so if I caught a fish, it was a bonus, but we didn't catch any. I've never mentioned that, by the way. Is it the anglers? It's just the anglers, but the committees need to embrace them coming if your local government and CVBs don't fill a package and agree to terms. The CVBs attempt to get them. I think the only place where the CVB and the Convention and Visitors Bureaus and the cities don't want pro tournaments is Orlando. Orlando doesn't need the extra income. They don't need the hotels filled. And the money that comes in is pennies when you have Mickey Mouse right around the corner that gives so much. It's they want that money, but the problem is to get the anglers to go over there, and a lot of them don't have to spend extra money or housing or whatever it is. You're probably looking at an average tournament probably in expenses is probably anywhere between $3,000 and $4,000. To do a West Coast trip might be $6,000 to $10,000 to $12,000, and with no entry fees, you really got to kill it. You got to be in that top 12 or something like that to make $12,000. And so only 12 guys are going to be profitable. That would be horrible. Keith says, I'm 54. It took a commitment. And this is good. You can learn if you put the time in, and good for Keith for doing that. But it's some people, it's just hard to do. If I were a pro angler, like, who did I say this? I said this to James Watson the other day. I said to him, look, unless you start using forward-facing sonar, you're not going to win. That was why I joined the MPFL. And he said to me, if I didn't have to work 2 years on building this house that I'm building, I probably would have known the technology drastically better. But a lot of his time goes into this new house that he's building. And I haven't even seen this house. It must be unbelievable. I should go on I should check it out. I haven't yet. CT says a season's worth of Airbnb is high road to death. And that's exactly right. Sorry, I meant just not the anglers. That's all right, LeBlue. Don't worry about it. I went over this, I think, last week. I think I mentioned I talked to Boyd in the middle of Thomas's swim meet, which was I don't want to give any shade to Boyd, but I wish he would have called it a different time. I could have not accepted it, but then it probably not that I couldn't have got a hold of him, but anyway, Boyd mentioned to me so many times that in order for everything to work with the elite comes down to viewership. It came down to viewership when the MLF did it and the BPT, and now it's come down to that too. The viewership for the BPT has went up quite a bit in the last couple of years, supposedly. But and that's why they've been able to increase the payouts. But the anglers also are paying more money on the BPT too. They're not paying $64.28. And so, but they voted to add more money to make the payouts better. But those payouts for the BPT are pretty darn awesome. Scott Mack and Scott, the SMC crew. I don't know. I really don't know. I know Scott fairly well. I've talked to Scott Canterbury a few times. The first tournament he went from when he joined the elites, he had an old tournament on that had a wrong shield on it. And he was leading the tournament the first day of the St. John's, or in the top 10 or top 5. And he and I did an interview. And after the interview, the Bass people came over to me and asked me not to post the video because it had the wrong badge. He had worn the wrong shirt. And it screwed me up. So not mine, but somebody's. Maybe. I don't mean to be mean to Scott Martin at all, but I think his priority is more fishing content than winning. That's what I feel like sometimes. I think there's lots of things that are going on in his life and all that stuff that takes a priority to fishing at times. And I think Canterbury is a great angler. He had a horrible year last year. Scott Martin had a horrible year too. Actually, Scott Martin needs to worry about this year, 2025, pretty bad, because he has another bad year. He could be on that verge of being cut. And Matt Aries, just that guy, I love that dude. It's tough to increase viewership when most people. I agree with you, Michael. I agree with you. I think that the new anglers, I think that people are unhappy with forward-facing sonar to start off with. The second thing is that if we're out fishing, we're not going to watch it. But you still have those first few days that are during the week that they're hoping that they can get people in. I think that unless we as fans are watching fishing, then they're in trouble. I think that there's so many people that dislike forward-facing sonar, and they're very passionate about their stance on it. And that's not, I'm not taking any digs at Randy with that comment. That had nothing to do with Randy. Randy's very passionate, and rightfully so. He doesn't like it. Randy's also very conservation oriented, which I really do appreciate. I think, and I don't want, again, I'm not going to try to trash Randy at all. What Randy does is on YouTube it's unbelievable. It really is. As someone who puts out a video a day, and I struggle for, I struggle for content. What Randy does, and he does do a lot of videos over and over and over, but the time he puts in is pretty freaking impressive. That's the truth. Why didn't your thing show up? Oh, there you go. Oh, wait a minute. Why didn't it show up? Yeah. Well, you want to know why they're over an hour? Nowadays, you get paid more money from YouTube if you're at a certain time. Like my revenue stream for any video under 9 minutes is drastically different than if I do one from 9 to 13. And then if I do one from 13 to 21, then I get a little bit more revenue. Now, you still have to watch the whole thing, but it really comes down to YouTube revenue for these guys. I didn't know there aren't many. I know for a fact that Ben is fishing the elites. I know this for a fact. He put it on. He commented. I'm not sure I pissed him off in that one video when I said one and done, because he had said, I'm not sure where I'm going to go. He said in that video in a comment that he was staying with the elites. He can't go to BPT. He doesn't qualify. Is his brand as big if he fishes the opens? No. And he can do well in the opens, but the problem is that he wants that exposure to help build his brand. I mean, Ben's brand is as big as anybody. I think Ben's brand is probably the biggest of all people right now, and that means way over the Guggen guys too, other than maybe Flair, because Flair's numbers are stupid. That guy does woo or whatever, sheesh or what. I don't even know what it is now. His videos, he gets a lot of views. Oh no, it's all right. Don't worry about it. Yeah. And Randy doesn't even have, his camera isn't even very good. I mean, you see that's my little camera stuff there with a light, and then there's a light here that you're not seeing because I have it actually ricocheting off a wall to come towards me so that I don't blow myself out. I feel like I should worry about what the hell I look like. Okay, so is there any questions you guys want to know before we wrap this up? We'll do this again next week, Friday, 8 o'clock. I'm going to do Restream. I am going to throw it out there. If someone wants to be a moderator and can help me with comments, I would really appreciate it. I don't know what I can give you, or if you want anything. I mean, I can see if I can give you the free membership or something, and you can watch the videos way ahead of everybody, because the videos are, I want to say, I'm going to go to my thing. Most the members get the videos early. So like the members right now are seeing, and I'll just tell you, the members are seeing videos like, Jesus, this thing is slow. They're seeing the Jacob Wheeler's there. Which Bassmaster Elite rookie class is the best? There's a closer look. There's the Mark Daniels. There's a story behind me. Our co-anglers are becoming extinct. There's there's 5 or 6 or 7 videos up there that they see ahead of everybody. So if you're a member, you get to see stuff way faster than anybody. Oh, you can have a hat. Carol, text me your address. I'll send you a hat. I have like 20 hats. Maybe 24. This is this is another one. You can see the sweat stain. I'll send you a hat for sure. And you would be a great mod because I could trust you. That's the other thing. I don't, and not that I don't trust everybody, but I need to make sure that someone doesn't. I don't want anybody like getting on here and fighting with each other. I'm not gonna tolerate that, or name calling or any of that other crap. If I see that, I'm going to have to figure out. Right now, I don't know how to figure out. The only thing I do know is I can delete comment, ban user, or put the user in timeout. I don't want to do that to anybody. Just like I don't want to do it when I'm doing comments. I let everybody. Thank you. Yeah, I think she has my phone number, so she can text me. I want to make sure everyone has a voice, but how we state our voice is going to be it. Who's your classic winner pick? Anybody from Texas? It wouldn't surprise me. Why did that? Do you notice I got like see how did I move it? I think anyone from Texas is going to be a thing. I think that CT's favorite person is probably a good pick for the classic. Chris Zaldain, that's a joke, of course. I think Ben Milliken's a good choice too. I think Shakurat is going to be a good one. I think there'll probably be 5 or 6 guys that'll be favorites. I think that any Texas angler is going to be in the works for sure. I really think that. I think, yeah, you're right. Ben could be tough. Trey McKinney's tough anywhere. I mean, like or dislike that young man. And I was going to say kid because he's just so much younger than me. But the dude just can catch fish. He just does. You might not like that he used forward-facing sonar and all that other stuff, but he really, really is so much better than people are giving him credit for, because he did this. He caught him fish so before forward-facing sonar that it wasn't even funny. The kid really is much better than people are giving him credit for. I'm not trying to be mean or say anything horrible. He really is a super good angler. That's your boy, man. That and his wife. That's a joke. It's so much a joke. He's a good kid. Ben wins, people will lose their shit. So when you become a classic winner, there's a few things that come with being a classic winner. It isn't just getting the trophy and doing it. It's about what your brand becomes afterwards. And in some cases and in some years, there's been classic winners that don't live up to the media expectations that happen after winning. And I'm just going to use one person. When Cliff Pace won, I don't want to say that everyone was jumping up and down, sorry, but people weren't, because everyone knew Cliff is very introverted compared to the second place winner, Brandon Palaniuk. And another example would be when Edwin won over his buddy. I don't know his buddy's name, and I was just talking about him today. Everyone wanted Edwin to win because they thought he'd be better for the brand to win. That's what was the key to it. And you want someone to win that is very outgoing, knows how to speak to the media, knows that they need to promote themselves and Bass and winning that classic. And a lot of times that doesn't happen. And with Ben, even if you don't like Ben speaks very well. He's very articulate. He knows how to handle media, and he's comfortable in front of a camera, whereas some people aren't that way. And Ben would be fantastic, but people would lose it. That's the God's honest mind. But he would be great as a classic, for a classic winner. Not to mention, boy, 6 Cents Fishing would go crazy. Matt, you're welcome. Thank you. Hank Cherry. Ooh, Hank Cherry's a good. Did Hank make it though? I don't know if he qualified. Could be wrong on that one. Hank wasn't. Hank isn't he isn't comfortable in front of media. He's a great dude. Great dude. Jordan Lee wasn't comfortable around the media. It's the truth. That isn't me trying to throw shade. They weren't comfortable. And you have to be if I can ever explain something, I am not comfortable in front of a camera. I have to do a whole bunch of things before I start filming, and the notes I write for myself, and I still get shit wrong all the time. I will say, Jordan Lee wins. Again, we need to have a conversation about where he is in the whole realm of greatest of all time. That should be a good one too. That should be a good one. Hamner does have a good personality. You're right, CT. The problem is that not a lot of people have talked to him or are still are interested in him. But as the classic gets closer, he'll see another media push going his way. Ooh, Dave's. I don't know what that is. I don't know. Laughing out loud. So, yeah. So, if you guys want me to continue to do these, Lee Livesey is a stud. Lee Livesey is a good angler, man. Lee Livesey would be great too because he's great down there or over there. Yeah, I think Jordan Lee winning heavy hitters was like a slap in MLF's face. That's the God's honest truth. And I think he made the right decision to go back to the BP to go to the elites because of his brand. And I don't think that he liked. I don't think that he liked where MLF was going. I think if you talk to a bunch of the anglers after the first year, they kind of felt like they were pressured when the split happened. And then some of those anglers moved over back into the elites, and then they have felt comfortable. I think that the BPT will be the hardest place to get into, and those anglers are going to be paid the most. And there's something to be said about that. And at some point in time, some of these anglers probably will not be happy with where they went, but that's not here nor there. You love the question and answer series. Yeah, we can keep doing it. Hank was, I didn't think Hank made it. He does not get a pass unless he won it last year, and Hamner won it last year. He would have to be in the top 42 or 43. I think there's some guys that double qualified, like Easton Fothergill, but I don't think Hank makes it. I didn't think he made it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap this up. If you guys have any questions, we just all need to make sure that we remember Aaron. That's the God's honest truth. If you have more questions, just put them in the comments below. I really do appreciate all you guys. I actually enjoy this. I enjoy talking. I don't really enjoy talking, but I enjoy answering questions. But we'll do some interviews and we'll do some Q&As. And like I said, I'm always willing, if you guys want to come on here and say hello or promote something for yourself, you can almost, I'll put that link up during the thing. I think I'm not going to use this StreamYard next time. I'm only going to use this Stream.io because it's just a little more comfortable. But we'll use that next Friday at 8 o'clock again, and we'll say hello, have some fun. And I really do appreciate all of you guys. So I'm going to run through some comments, say goodbye, and just wish you guys the best. I really am humbled by all of the stuff that you guys say and show and all the stuff you guys do for me. It's not me saying it for anything else, but just to say thank you. It's the God's honest truth. I really do appreciate everybody who comments and that you guys are part of this team and this family. And if I can do anything to help you, you can email me. Here it is. I'm putting my email in here. There it is. That's what the hell. There it is. There's my email. If you feel like you need something, hold on, I'll put it up there. Email me, and I'll do what I can to help you. If you need me, if you want to say, hey, Steve, I'd like to talk to you one-on-one, there's the email. I'll send you my phone number, and you can text me or email me or do whatever, because I really do appreciate it. But remember, get on there, subscribe. If you want to be a member, I really do appreciate it. If you want to do whatever it is that's on there, I don't even have a clue. I should be telling you that you should go to one of the closer looks. If you're going to buy some tackle, go to one of the closer looks and use one of those links to go back to Tackle Warehouse and show your support to the channel by going there and using that affiliation link, because that does help. It's not really that much, but anything is better than nothing, and I really do appreciate it. Hey, Chris. So I really do appreciate y'all. I want you guys to be safe, happy, go out there and get fit, go fishing, and of course, get your fish on. I'll see you guys next week.